time to collect the Master Ball, and as I said before, I already know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to use it to catch Mewtwo. Now, there are only two ways to catch Mewtwo with a minimum of fuss. The first one would be, of course, the Master Ball, and the second one would be try and freeze it with an Ice Beam. If it doesn't work, reset until it does work, and after that, since it cannot thaw out on its own in this generation, then you're free to throw as many balls to it as you have. So you can even go with Pokeballs in there, since they actually have a better value in terms of money compared to their catch rate. So yeah, those are the two ways to catch Mewtwo. If you go about it any other way, you are certain to get your entire team swept. Especially since you're probably going to have a big level disadvantage by the time you reach it. Now, I think I'm able to use the computer here to store the Master Ball, and that's exactly what I'm going to do in order to avoid the temptation of using it on the legendary birds, since those can be quite tedious to catch if you get unlucky. Now, I'm going to head out to Saffron City again and explore the buildings that were blocked off by rockets before, and this gives me a chance to talk about Lapras as I promised in the last video, but I couldn't do it then since I didn't have enough time. Now, you might not know it, but Lapras was actually one of the biggest threats in the game in the first generation, because, well, it's the original Bulky Water, a class of Pokemon that's always fared well over the years, and it's also capable of Volt Beaming. At the time, it was more like Volt Blizzing, since very few people actually used Ice Beam over Blizzard due to Blizzard's 90% accuracy, and it was so strong, in fact, that it could be a threat to even Chansey back then. Now, as a side note, Bolt Beaming was even more effective then than it is now, because Lantern didn't exist, and neither did Shedinja, and Magneton wasn't of the Steel type yet, so Ice Beam hit it for neutral. So both those moves could hit everythhin for neutral between themselves. And as for its super strong Surf, well, it was more than enough to take down Rhydon and Golem in one hit, while being faster than them, even though Lapras isn't very fast in the first place. Huh? Don't look at my letter? You were the one who were reading it out loud to me. You were even looking at me while doing so. And the text you were saying just now, well, it's not even on the paper yet. What the fuck? But back to Lapras' Surf, it was so strong, in fact, that even Blizzard was more than enough to take down Rhydon and Golem, so usually Lapras back then didn't carry Surf, an excellent move, by the way, which was its signature moves. And Lapras is so good that its signature move is an HM. No kidding. What was I saying again? Yeah, so the fact that Lapras didn't carry Surf freed up a move slot that was spent on more needed moves such as Body Slam, which really was such a good move all around that a lot of Pokemon that didn't even have Stab on it had it, if only for the 30% chance of Paralysis and taking care of Chansey and so on. And there was also Rest, which could be used depending on your preferences. And okay, here we have Copycat's Room. I don't know which Pokemon that doll up there is supposed to represent. My guess would be either Kangaskhan or Rhydon, since those were the first two Pokemon ever designed. Is that Doduo actually talking to me? I thought it was Chatot who could mimic the words of men, not Doduo. Nothing in Doduo's lore ever said anything about it being able to talk, though Chatot didn't exist until 2 or 3 years ago, so I guess I'll let it slide. Hey, my secrets, yeah, let's leave them on the computer screen for everyone to see. I think if you do that, then you give up the right to call them secrets. Though, none of these are secrets. Everyone knows about your hobby, which is mimicking. Hell, she's even got sort of a fan club in Saffron. Oh, here's Rocket Boss again. No, Blue said Boss Rocket. This here is Rocket Boss. But why does no one ever refer to him as Giovanni? But back to Lapras, it was comfortably overused in the first generation, but it began sliding down in Gold, Silver, and Crystal until eventually it became underused in this generation. Now I honestly have no clue why this thing is underused. You could say it's part of the rather long list of Pokémon that are there but have no business being there. I already mentioned Clefable, Claydol, and Swellow in previous videos. But I have a problem with how it keeps going down despite gaining more and more versatility with each generation. Now it can run Curse with a decent amount of success, same for Dragon Dance, and yeah, really, I don't really see how this thing is so weak that it's underused. I mean, sure, having the Ice type is not a good idea defensively, and a defensive Pokemon is what Lapras is at heart. But with a very good stat total and an equally good move pool, I just don't get it. Okay, that's enough for now since I'm entering one of the hardest areas in the game, and it's going to give me the opportunity to check out what's good and what's not in order to prepare myself for the fight against Sabrina. So here's the first Psychic, and here's a Slowpoke. Now Venusaur is going to take that down no problem. In terms of in-game, dual-type Psychics are much less threatening than the mono-types because the dual-types have actual weaknesses you can exploit, as opposed to only Bug for the mono-types. And the problem with Sabrina comes from the fact that she's got 3 monotypes. She's got Kadabra, Mr. Mime, and Alakazam. So there's no going around exploiting weaknesses with her, unless you still have a Beedrill, which, of course, you need your head checked if you use Beedrill past the Nugget Bridge. And as for Jolteon, it's almost a better idea to use Thunderbolt, because not only does Thunderbolt have higher power, but it runs off Jolteon's better special stat as well, and even though you hit through the thicker defense stat of those Psychics, I think it's still better. So yeah, no exploiting weaknesses here, especially since the Dark type didn't exist yet. Oh well, guess I'll come back in Fire Red and Leaf Green and see how things changed. Okay, now the trick to this tile maze, if you want to... Oh crap, it's a Channeler and I completely forgot to switch to either Alakazam or Gengar because Venusaur can't do a thing to those ghosts. Oh well, guess I'm gonna have to switch. And as I was saying, the trick to meeting all the trainers within this tile maze is to always go horizontally from where you arrive. There's a quicker route that takes you to Sabrina almost instantly, but I'm not gonna do that. I need the testing and the levels. Oh, Confuser. Oh, man. Am I gonna switch or... No, I'm gonna try it. And guess what? I'm gonna hurt myself in Confusion. Hypnosis on top of that? Fuck you! Alright, now I'm gonna switch. Oh, man. That's right. I could have used the Poke Flute. What am I, stupid? Okay, Nightshade, which is going to hit for 33 damage, of course. And, okay, now you're gonna get it. Honestly, I thought it was gonna do Hypnosis again, especially since in-game, the use of sleep moves is completely unrestricted, so that Ghastly could have put everyone to sleep if it wanted to, as long as the accuracy allowed it, of course, but oh well, them's the breaks. Okay, this one isn't going to be landing a lick on me this time. I really hate the lack of variety in terms of ghosts here. That means the Channelers are only ever going to pack 2 different Pokemon. It's going to be either Ghastly or Haunter. Not even Gengar, of course, since that one is kept for the Elite Four. At least they added a lot of ghosts in the last 2 generations. Gold, Silver, Crystal doesn't count because, off the top of my head, the only new one there was Miss Drevis, so there was still not much.